Hello and welcome to another edition of my Become Unstoppable series. And today I've got the amazing Jeanette with me. So Jeanette, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello, Judy. Yes, thank you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to chat with you. My name is Jeanette. I am the founder and owner of the English Mineral Makeup Company. Fortunately, a massively award-winning brand that is my true passion.
Amazing. And we'll find out a little bit more about that in a minute. For those who don't know me, I'm Julie from Millieside. I'm a therapist and I'm a coach. In fact, I'm a super conscious hypnotherapist now. Basically, what I do is I help people overcome their stress, their anxiety, amongst all physical and psychological conditions, because I know that when we work with the subconscious mind, we can get to the root cause of what's going on for you. So that will be limiting beliefs, trapped feelings, trapped emotions, and sometimes they can cause us physical pain. So it's about finding them and dealing with them and getting them out of your life forever. So if you'd like to find out more about either of us, there will be an opportunity to do that at the end. But before we start, Jeanette, I ask everybody this question. And the question is, what does being unstoppable mean to you?
I've given this a lot of thought. I knew you would ask me this. I think being unstoppable for me as a mother, a wife, a nana, and a business owner is to not allow outside influences to make me doubt anything that I want to do or be. I'm very lucky. I've had a very blessed life and I work really hard. But I think that being unstoppable means that I don't let negativity get in my way, whatever it might be. And I think probably that's just about it, really. That's enough.
Brilliant. Yeah, that's more than enough. As you are, darling, you're more than enough.
I
As
love you.
I am too. I mean, we would when I arranged these interviews, we obviously have a bit of a chat beforehand, and we're almost 2 hours in before we even got on here. So we're certainly warmed up now, aren't we? I mean, we really need to get
Brilliant.
online, and we really need to get out and talk about what we want
Well,
to talk
you
about.
were interesting to talk to. That's the thing, and
Yeah, you too.
I think we obviously have a lot of similarities, and I wasn't expecting to find those. To be really honest, I didn't know you very well, and I think that with most people, once you get into what makes them tick, I'm fascinated by people.
Yeah,
People are all my life. I'm a hairdresser. I've been a hairdresser all my life. I've had the most incredible clients that I've been able to listen to. They listen to me and they love their hair, which is always a bonus. I think talking is what it's all about.
I think you're right. And I've always my passion's always been being around people. And I spent 35 years in the corporate world until I changed. But when I look back on my corporate life, there's been times when I hated it. There's been times when it was dull as dishwater. There were times when I loved it. But the biggest part was always being around the people. I used to gauge whether I'd had a good day in the office with being like how much that I'd laughed, how much fun I'd had, or did I go lunch or something like that. It was like, oh yeah, the work was like, oh yeah, yeah, oh sorry, yeah, I got that project live. I forgot to mention that, but that wasn't what was important to me. Of course it was. I've been a bit flippant, but I wasn't that interested in it. The content didn't rock my boat particularly, and I wanted to do a good job, but it was being around the people. And I like to call it, I now say that I'm inquisitive, but I used to call myself nosy, but I think inquisitive is much nicer, isn't it?
You know what? You're interested in people and you're interested in stories and you're interested in what makes people tick. You're like me, and that is
Yeah.
my thing. I think the hardest thing for me all my life has been showing up if I didn't feel like it, because I have to show up with a smile on my face, with,
Yeah.
the right attitude and, to be artistic, to be, to do my best for that person. So they go away feeling absolutely amazing. And my buzz is that they go away feeling amazing. But, you don't always feel like being that person, and that's always the hardest. That was always the hardest thing for me. You know, I don't know, you've nursed your sick mother at 6 o'clock in the morning, and then had to go home, shower, and turn up for work with a smile on your face. People don't know what goes on behind the scenes very often, and I think being a good, being able to still give and listen and give people what they need, even when you don't really feel like it yourself, in turn gets you stuff back from them. So you've started like that, they've come in and they've lifted you. So by giving to them, they lift you, and then you end up the day and you think, actually, you know what? I'm glad I do this for a living. I've had a lovely day today. So it doesn't even matter whether you start off the day good or bad. Working with people who feel good because of you is like the best. So
yeah, absolutely, 100% agree, and I get that now in my life, you know, as a therapist and coach, and it's like, but I kind of probably did in the corporate world a bit, but equally you can be dragged into it, can't you? Because it's all about, we are an energy, and if you're going into the office, whether it's a hairdresser salon, whether it's a corporate business, whether, you know, whether you're a shop assistant, wherever you are, if you're around people, you will pick up on people's energy. And that's something I've learned a lot about over the last few years, that and that's how we find, if we're in a relationship that's maybe toxic, or we're around people that bring us down, we will by default pick up on that energy and we will pull ourselves down. And that's why it's really important that where we can, isn't it, is to hang about with people who do inspire us, who do make us happy, who do appreciate us, which would be AKA your clients, AKA my clients, you know. And there's nothing more rewarding than someone coming back saying, like in my case, like, oh my God, Julie, since I worked with you, I'm now doing this. I never thought that was possible. I've never, ever done that, you know. And for you, it'll be like, oh my God, I went out on this, went to a wedding and everyone loved. I said, how amazing. It's all about getting that feel good factor, that dopamine hit, isn't it? That is better than anything. Laughing, smiling is the best thing you can do for yourselves, because it sends all those lovely, happy hormones around your body.
Yeah, I mean, they do say that hairdressing is the happiest job you can be involved in. I think they're probably right. It is very different to my makeup world, where it's like you'd think it would be part of the same world, hairdressing and makeup, and it's actually totally different. That was quite interesting when I started dealing with women who needed my help in different ways or advice. Makeup is much more. Do you know what? When people put makeup on, they're putting a face on that they're putting out. This is a bit deep. Sorry, this has come into my head. But analysing what I do.
Don't normally go so deep so quick, but go for it.
When you do someone's hair, you're doing their hair, and they're still the same face. They get the hair done, coloured, done, styled, blow dried, whatever. They go out, they feel fantastic. When you do their makeup, very often you're putting a mask on for them, and that's different. And I found that when I first was dealing with that, I couldn't work out why people didn't feel amazing. You know, they were like, you know, oh, what if it smudges in an hour? What if, I don't know, but my husband doesn't like it? What if? And I never ever got that with hair. Hair was just like, bang, there you go.
Right. I'm going to write myself a note. Right. Remind me, just say to me in a minute, your wedding makeup story. Right. Because I don't want you to come off track, but remind me.
No. Well, so that's the thing. So you're helping people put on their mask, whether they want that mask to be a complete transformation, or just to disguise something they don't like about their face, or enhance something they want to enhance about their face, or just totally to look like a different person, whether they want to look soft and natural, or corporate and, you know, not hard, that's bad, but corporate and strong, you know, it's really used for that. And I don't think that hair is in the same way.
Yeah, it's a good point, really, because you will dress, you would choose clothes depending on that environment you were going into, wouldn't you? If you were going into a corporate meeting, then like I would have worn suits and stuff like that. I wouldn't really want to wear one now, probably so much, but if I was going to my hairdressers, I'm not going to wear my suit, am I? I'm going to wear my casual clothes that if I get a bit of bleach on it doesn't really matter type thing. But so you do dress accordingly to your environment. But with hair, though, interestingly though, like I've always, you know, I'll always try and do my hair, and I've never been brilliant at it, just, you know, whatever. But I would always dress myself before I left the house. I mean, obviously, I don't mean just clothes, but I would never leave the house without a little bit of makeup on. Definitely wouldn't go without a bit of lipstick, because that's me. It's like I don't even. I've never been one of those people that would sit around in my dressing gown on a Saturday or a Sunday, because I think, oh, what if someone come round? And no one will come round ever. But the one time you're sitting there in your dressing gown and you haven't done your hair and you haven't got your makeup, that'd be the time they come. But even if I'm here on my own, I will just get up. Have my shower, do my hair, get dressed. I'll always put a little bit of makeup on. Even if I just put a real soft colour lipstick on, because I don't like the feeling of not having anything on my lips now, because my lips feel dry, because it's just having that extra bit of moisture, isn't it? But that's just me. And like you say, I would be mortified if I went out and I didn't have any makeup on. Not that I wear loads of makeup, and probably people wouldn't even know whether I have makeup on or not, but I know.
I think, and very few women are comfortable with no makeup on. Now, if you see me, I don't wear any makeup at work at all, and I have clients say to me, "Oh, you've got a makeup business. What are you doing?" Now, if I've got to put myself on screen, or I'm doing, you know, something close up with someone, then obviously I do put makeup on. But I've never been somebody that wears a lot of makeup. But I have rosacea, so my makeup routine is such that I need to mask the rosacea, because I hate it so much, because it's very, very red. And I wear a lot of makeup in terms of what layers of makeup I put on my face. But I don't particularly think I look like I'm wearing a lot of makeup. I don't want to present looking like I'm really made up.
Makeup, yeah.
Which I think you don't. It's a very natural look. Whereas some people are, they want to look like they've literally got, you know, the entire number 7 boots collection slapped across their face. You know, harsh, full on, totally replacing their own skin tone, their own makeup. It's really strange.
It's funny, isn't it? I mean, when I was younger, I did suffer a lot with spots, so I suppose that made me a bit paranoid. And I think I've got quite big pores as well, so that I suppose that was always just to put a nice little look. But yeah, it's just like you say, it's a bit of a mask, isn't it? It's a bit.
It's a new personality. You put on the personality you want to wear that day.
But my little story.
I've got women who never ever appear in front of their husbands without full makeup on.
I remember someone from when I was younger.
I go to bed with makeup on.
Yeah, and she would make sure she got up before him so she could put makeup on.
Yeah.
But interestingly, this kind of leads quite nicely into my little story, right? So a friend of mine once was getting married, and she had a makeup artist there, and she said, "Oh, if anyone wants to have, you know, we had to pay for it, but it wasn't a lot. If anyone wants to have their makeup done, let me know and I'll book you in." So I said, "Yeah, I'll have my makeup done," because I thought, I'm not very good at it. I look like Coco the Clown most of the time. Once I start trying to, I'm all right if I just have what I've got on now, but when I start with eyeshadows and stuff, I'm like all over the shop. Anyway, I sat down in a chair. She was doing all her stuff. God knows what she was doing to me. She showed me afterwards, and I thought, oh, that's all right. And I thought, well, when you're at a wedding or something like that, and there's lots of photographs, it's good to have a little bit more on the normal in it, so that you can see. So I was all quite chuffed myself. Thought I looked really nice. I walked in because it was in a hotel, so we were staying the night in the hotel. So I walked into the room where my husband was, and he went, "What the hell have you done to your face?" I was like, "What do you mean?" He went, "Oh my God," he said, "it looks awful. It looks awful." Now, he's not like that. He's not the type of person that is, you know, that he would tell me what to wear or what not to. I don't want him to come across like, because he never, ever, ever would do anything like that. But he went, "Oh my God, it doesn't even look like you. Go and take it." So I had to go. Well, I didn't have to, but I kind of think I wiped it off a little bit. But it was like, oh my God. And then actually it wasn't my husband then at that point. And then we went, I don't know, a year later, I don't know what the duration was, doesn't really matter, but we got married on a cruise. And beforehand we had like a wedding coordinator. She's going, "Do you want to have a makeup artist and all this?" I went, "No, not really, because if I end up looking like I look at this whole wedding, I'm going to be devastated." So anyway, I took all my own makeup with me, because I thought, at least, and it's a brand that you don't like, so I won't mention it.
How do you know I don't like them?
because we've had a conversation about it. But it doesn't matter because I'm converting over to all of yours. But we'll talk about that in a minute. Anyway, so it gets on the cruise, we're in there, and I said, oh, do you know what? I will have my makeup done, but can you use my makeup? Because at least I know my face is used, you know. Anyway, she did the most amazing job and I looked lovely. I say that loosely, but I feel like I could have looked the best that I could have looked.
Yeah, you felt good.
I felt good. And but yeah, that was just like really, it was like I wanted to do it, but I was so scared because I didn't want to turn up in my wedding outfit in front of Andy, and he looked at me again and went, I just watched his face go, oh my God, what have you done to yourself again? You know.
The thing is, when makeup artists do that to us, and this has happened to me, what you see reflecting back at you is what you think you want to look like. And it with the heavier makeup where they completely change your face, because it is a professional mask. So if you were going to do a photo shoot or something, you would have that much makeup on. So your perception of what someone else has done for you is what you think you want to put out there to the world. Someone who loves you for yourself, who looks at you with a completely different set of eyes, thinks, whoa, where have you gone? What is that I'm looking at? Because they don't have, you're not there anymore. You're this fake face that's been put on.
Yeah.
And it's a real, I totally get it. But when you're younger, I think you want the fake face. That's what happens is the youngsters, they copy the techniques. You know, I'm so glad all the contouring stuff has disappeared a bit, because that used to really break my heart when I watched all these beautiful young girls on social media contouring their faces, contouring the life out of their faces, and it just didn't look like them. But it's very clever, and I'm not trying to denigrate it. It's very clever, and the techniques are really clever if that's what you want. But most of the women, in fact all the women I ever deal with, just want to look a better version of themselves, you know, with a better looking, dewier complexion, with, you know, enhancement that isn't a mask. You can't get a mask from natural minerals anyway, because they're in loose, ours are in loose form. So you'd have to really go at it for several layers before you got that.
I've used the wrong tub. But before we will talk about all your makeup, actually, because funny enough, I've got a box of it here, and so I hadn't planned on doing this but anyway, just a conversation.
Go where you want with the conversation.
But, before we do that, though, let's just, because I'm not even sure that you've actually told everyone the name of your brand or anything. So let's go back. Let's just, we know you're a hairdresser, and we know you've got, well, I know this. I don't know if the viewers do, and you've got your makeup brand. So let's just go back a little bit. Who is Jeanette? How did you end up being who you are now? And then let's find out a little bit more about your brand. I mean, tell them about the name of your brand. That's absolutely fine.
Who is Jeanette? How far do you want me to go back? So childhood, very briefly brought up in a very, I was lucky to have an amazing childhood, great parents and great family. Very, very strict Catholic upbringing, actually, I had, which has, you know, never done me any harm, I don't think, apart from a bit of the Catholic guilt I do carry. But I've just tried to get real with that as I've got older. My dad they both worked really hard, my parents. My mum was into alternative medicine, alternative therapies. She used to make our cough mixture, and it was like black. But it was delicious. Yeah, very, very, very much so. My dad, although he was an electrical engineer, actually, he had always had allotments in our garden. We grew everything. We pickled everything. We froze everything. He made wine out of everything. It was all about, my dad had a thing about additives, even in the 60s when I was growing up. He felt that you shouldn't have all of this stuff to make things grow. They used to wash, even the vegetables he grew used to be washed in aloe vera juice. I mean, I don't even know, my mum used to get it. Everything was like rinsed in aloe vera juice before we could eat it and boil it or whatever. So I grew up in that sort of environment. My mum then became a reflexologist, that was in the early 70s, and that was really, really unusual. No one did it. No one really knew what it was. And she was trained by a guy from America. And I know it's everywhere now, but it really wasn't then. So there was a bit of teasing at school. My parents, they thought I was a bit of a, that my mum was a witch, and it was all a bit like that, bit woo-woo. but was, you know, a great way to live. And so I grew up very much with that whole understanding of the world, and, you know, to question what is used to make your food grow, to you know, what have you got in your makeup, what have you got, what's in that medicine, apart from what's it going to do to me. So that mindset has always been mine, right from as early as I can possibly remember. I went into hairdressing because I did come from a family where I did say to my parents, I want to stay and do A levels. And my dad said, why, dear? Quite like to go to university. And he said, well, if you really want to, but I really don't think you need to, you know, because that was their mindset. They were working people. So I did start doing A levels. I left after a couple of months because I decided I wanted to be a hairdresser. It was like an epiphany, really, really strange. Talk about put it out to the universe and someone will say, I'd never thought about it before, and I just suddenly thought that's what I want to do. And I got a job locally the same day on a Friday, went back into school, changed, left school, started a traditional apprenticeship. I was very lucky that I worked with people who were very good at what they did. I did that, went all the way through, started my own business, mainly because of what I was lucky enough to do an apprenticeship in a salon that was good. And then when I tried to get a job, the salons weren't as good. You know, it was very different sort of thinking. You know, there was a very big difference between working in London then and working outside. So I got my own salon at 26, my first salon.
Wow.
Really, because there wasn't anywhere I wanted to work that had the same ideology as me, which was naturals. You know, I would use a hairspray in my salon because it didn't contain things that were bad for your lungs. I didn't really care what it did to the hair. It was about what it did to your body. So even right back then,
and there probably wasn't that much choice then, was there?
no. So I was working with a company. I was very pleased to find a company then called Goldwell, because how they approached, they were much newer, younger companies. So all your old L'Oreals and Wellers and all of those were very old companies whose processes were older. Goldwell was a much newer company, German at the time. It's now owned by KO, I think, which is a Japanese brand. But they were doing things with hair tint that didn't contain anywhere near as much problem product. So I was very attracted by that. So I went with them. And then as time went on, built up my hairdressing businesses. And then I was introduced to Aveda. Now, I was very well aware of Aveda as a brand. But what I didn't understand was how brilliant their hair colouring systems were. So I went with them. I've been with them for a very long while. So my salon is an Aveda salon. And I've worked with Aveda as a colourist for 20 years. And then I've always had a problem with my skin being very sensitive and rosacea, which when I got into my 40s really started to trigger. When I hit my menopause at 50, wow, blimey, it was like someone got a red paintbrush out. It was, there you go, Jeanette, all yours. And I was like, I can't deal with this, and wanted makeup that would help heal my skin as well as protect my skin, as well as cover up my redness and look good. And it is a massive cliche, Julie. I'm really sorry to use it, but it was a case of I couldn't buy it, so I made it.
Like you do.
prompted on by a neighbour who said, I don't know why you don't set it, because I was having a moan about the black compact that I'd got with my makeup. I was like, look at this, all this money, and it's revolting. Look at it. Why can't I have a nice, pretty, you know, whatever? And she said to me, she said, you should think about starting your own brand. I was like, no, I couldn't do that. And she said, you're really, really good with colour. And that's what it is. It's about colour matching. It's about colour. Should I task you to go off and find out? And I did. Spent some time doing research, finding, you know, what I needed to be in my product, how I could make it the best it could be, and find companies that could help me make it. And 10 years ago, it took me 2 years to bring it to the table. So I started in 2013, 14, and in 2015 May we went live. So we're actually 10 years old this year.
Oh wow! So that's a good thing. You could
I should do some
that.
around that. And it's not looked back really for me. But starting a brand isn't easy. It's not, you know, the world of makeup is absolutely huge.
Huge, yeah.
You know, when you start dipping into it. But I've got great people around me that help me. We've done, you know, we've won loads and loads, right from day one, loads and loads of awards. I mean, funniest one I think is my Fairy Godmother. Is a product that is infused. It is a powder form. I hate the word powder, but that's basically what it looks like. It's a loose mineral form, and it's infused with oils. So it's infused with rosehip oil, jojoba oil, green tea extract. It's got all these infusions in it, so it's really healing and moisturising at the same time. So I thought, well, I want something that I can use on my skin when I don't want to wear makeup, that kind of softens my complexion but isn't coloured. And helps. So that's where that came from.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to call it Fairy Godmother. So, and also you can use it at night. This is for the customers that want to wear makeup, not have nothing on their face. You can use it when you go to bed at night, and it just softens the complexion. It doesn't put colour in, but it definitely diffuses fine lines, diffuses a bad complexion. It's a really clever product. Anyway. So I've done that. So I've put it out there, and I've got a friend who's helping me with some PR. She found it. She went, "Oh my God, you're never going to believe it. It's been picked up by the Daily Mail, I think it was, one of the Daily Mail, and it's won an award." And I was like, "Oh wow,
Wow.
how's that happened?" So she went, "Well, it's won an award as the best illuminator." I said, "It's not an illuminator." She went, "Darling, it is now."
It is now.
So, stuff has happened to me. I've been very well received with the brand. We have some very respectable people that use it. I have several very well-known people that use it who don't want me to say that they use it. You're out there, you know who you are. I can't. Right from very early days. And that's fine. That's their prerogative, generally, because they're probably tied up with another brand that's paying them lots of money. And that's fine. It's nice for me to know. And that's where we're at. So loads and loads and loads of awards later. Every year we win loads of awards. We're very, very, very lucky to be so highly thought of. And we're growing.
Is it luck, or is it because it's a really good, genuinely brilliant?
Yeah, it's a bit of both, I think. In this industry, you can have the best product in the world. You still got to get it out there.
Yeah.
And you still need people to help you do that. And I've been lucky that people are very kind to me and give me their time and their thoughts. But in general, we met, didn't we, at a networking event. It's the cosmetics world is so big you can't even begin to imagine how huge it is. And then you try and carve your little niche, and then you need people to understand why you're carving your little niche and why you're not a different type of makeup or whatever. So it's all about education all the time. And what you need your friends around you. You need your friends around you to give you a lift up, to help you, and to refocus and reset you sometimes, because you can get a bit carried away with it all.
Exactly. And like you say, when we were together, it was like we was in a business coaching environment, and it's about, you can, but most people can't be successful without help from other people, can they? Because you only know what you know. And it's about being around those like-minded people. Everybody had different businesses, didn't they? But everyone had that same mindset that, they want to be a success. They want to get there, whatever it is, whether it's a service, whether it's a product, get it out there. Because many people, not always, especially the people I meet now at networking events, are normally people that have done something in their life, but now they want to do something else, like me with my corporate world. Yours is slightly different because you're still doing what you love, but many people that I meet now, things have happened to them in their lives, and as a result, they're doing something different. And I guess that is with your skin, isn't it? Where you decided that nothing was out there that you wanted to put on your face. So you created.
Yeah, there is footage out there of me with no makeup on, and I'm planning to do some more actually. We're just about to do quite a lot of stuff on rosacea. People, it makes you really vulnerable. And rosacea, it's an autoimmune thing. You have no idea. So it would be the same if you had, skin demarcation, if you had, whatever your thing is. But when it's so obvious and you can't take a pill, pop a pill to make it better, and no one listens. Like when you say, I can put a product on my skin and immediately it burns me. I can feel it immediately. It can be a perfume, it can be a cleaning product in the atmosphere, and I know it's going to trigger. I know it's going to trigger. Well, when you say that to some people, they think, oh, you neurotic, silly woman, you know? It's like, but when you find people that do understand that and that can help you, it's all about helping anyway, and everything in life is about helping whoever you talk
Yeah.
to. In the same way that I can get help from someone like you or some of the other people that have been on the courses that I've been on, because they've all got something that you can harness, yeah, that you can take in, that you can take on board some way that makes you the person that you are and helps you to be perhaps the best version of yourself that you want to be.
Exactly right. And actually, we when we were, as I said earlier, weren't we? We were talking for quite some time before we actually pressed the live button. But we've actually, as we've been talking, I said to you, didn't I? I said, like, oh, when I put makeup on, I feel like I look like Coco the Clown. And we were actually going back a week or two. We were chatting, and I told her what makeup I used, and she said, I said, well, okay, let me. So anyway, cut a long story short, Jeanette very kindly sent me a whole box of goodies. So I've been trialing them all out. I've got loads of different little sample parts, you know. But these it's really, really lovely. So this is a proper size pot. This one, isn't it?
Yeah, foundation.
Foundation, and then you get your lovely little, what do you call these?
It's a kabuki. It's application kabuki. So it's the right size
for your pot. It's really cool, right? So you're putting it in there,
and then you swirl it around the edge of where you've got the beveled edge inside the pot.
Yeah,
that's for getting any excess off your brush.
off
So you can actually tip it up onto the brush. Then if you've got too much, you swirl it around that beveled inside of the pot, and that gets any excess off. So you've got the right amount on your brush to use. But so basically Julie said, I'm no good at putting it on. I was like, I can help. I help loads of people. It's one of the things I do. You know, they email me, they send me their photos, whatever, for whether it's advice for colour choice or how to put it on. So I said, Julie, I can help you. For goodness sake, I'll help you. So from that, I'm going to go and do it properly.
Yeah. So we're going to film it. We're going to film the whole thing, and then you've got some great socials, haven't you?
Yeah, well, it's just exciting, and it's like, you know, it's no difference doing hair. It's a very similar thing. The buzz you get from helping people is quite amazing, and especially older ladies. Older ladies are really they don't know where they're going with makeup, you know, and they become very aware of what they may have ill health, they may have all stuff going on. You know, from sort of 35 onwards tends to be my demographic, and it's several things happen then. One is that they may be starting families, trying to come off of you know, anything that's toxic in their, you know, whether it's drugs or whatever, in readiness for childbirth or motherhood. They may be more sort of a higher achiever in their whatever field they work in, so they've got more money to spend, so they want to get what's good for them, they want to buy the best that's out there. So generally from 35 upwards is the demographic of the women that find us. They very often are more aware of what they're putting on their skin and into their body, and that isn't always because they're unwell or whatever. It is just your longevity suddenly becomes flipping important. Myself, I've become a grandmother in the last couple of years, and I'm suddenly thinking, I've got to get more weight off. I need to be fit and healthy because I want to see this beautiful granddaughter I've got grow up. I want to see what she becomes. I want to see what she can give the world. Yeah, I want to see all of that, and you suddenly think, oh my God, I'm getting old. I might not be here. And I think that whole thing with what you put in your body, what you use on yourself, what you do for yourself, what you do to make yourself feel good, what you do to relax, what you do, you know, everything that you do suddenly becomes really,
more hyper focused, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really strange, that shift.
Definitely, and I totally agree with that. And everything I do with my clients and work with my people, it's all about the starting point is self-care, right? And I have to sort of say, I don't mean making sure you have a shower in the morning, which obviously is really important, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about breathing, meditating, journaling, taking time out for yourself, and actually really looking to see who you are. Who is that beautiful person? And
just I don't want to sort of just come back to that sleep thing in a minute, and I'll tell you a funny story about my husband, but carry on.
But this is the whole point, though, isn't it? It's about, you've got to put yourself first, right? And that, if that means doing your hair, if that means taking time out just to do your beauty regime in the morning, like your cleanser, toner, it's that's still taking time out for yourself, isn't it, to look after yourself. And particularly when you are a new mum and things like that, that sometimes the last thing you do is like even think about brushing your hair, in it. But actually you got to get yourself ready before you can do a lot of things.
Yeah.
Otherwise you're not ready for the day, are you?
Well, you're getting your mindset ready, aren't you? Although it's
Yeah.
physical on the outside, what it's actually doing is preparing the inside for whatever it is you need to be doing that day.
I was having a conversation with someone about this the other day, actually, and she was saying that one thing, a mum, you know, you listen to your mum, your parents for some things, and a lot of things, she said, and there was one thing that I took on board, and she said, you always never come downstairs without being fully ready, like dressed.
Who's that, your mum, did you say?
No, it wasn't my mum. Someone was telling me this.
Their mum, yeah.
About their mum. You know, the best bit of advice she ever gave her was, you always come downstairs ready for the day. Because if you're one of those that comes down and you potter around in your dressing gown, have a cup of coffee, have another cup of coffee, you know, that's never been me. I'm not condoning it if that's what you like doing in happy days. But for me, that was never me. But it is, it's like I will come down in the morning in my gym kit and I will do my bit of exercise and my meditation and stuff. Then I'll go upstairs, have my shower, come back down, and then I'm ready for the day. You know, I wouldn't hang around in my gym kit because it just wouldn't feel right, you know.
No, I go out. I take the dog in the mornings. I take the dog out for a walk, which in the winter involves I don't even get out of my nightie or pajamas. I put clothes on over the top because it's cold. In the summer, I'm a bit more organised. And then I come back and I generally do anything that I need to do on social media, just general stuff around the house. And then I go and have a shower.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Because I do, so that if I've got to do any prep work with the minerals or whatever, I have to wear certain clothes for that. I wear like a paper everything. So I do what I've got to do because it's messy.
Yeah.
If I'm just going straight into the salon, then that's different. Then I'll get made up and ready and go out to work. But I do breath work. I've done breath work. My mum used to do breath work. I've done breath work for a lot of years. And the funny story I was going to say, which I will share.
Oh, yes, I was supposed to remind you.
So I've done breath work for a lot of years, and I got to a point where I was doing it in bed at night because that's like a good time. Like I'd be sort of like I read in bed a lot. I don't sleep very much. I probably get 5 hours a night. I could get loads more. I have the time. I just don't sleep very much. I never have done. So in the winter, I don't want to get out of bed. In the summer, I'll go and sit out in my garden and read and do some stuff. So I started doing breath work. This is a few years ago. At night, while I was laying in bed, I'd be in and out and counting in and out, doing all this breath work. This went on for weeks, and I was really proud of myself, thinking, I'm getting all this breath work in. It's really amazing. We were at a friend's house for dinner. I'll never forget it. And his best friend said to him, "Oh, Tim, are you right, mate? You look ever so tired." He went, "I'm not sleeping all that well." So he said to him, what do you mean you're not sleeping all that well? He said, "Well," he said, "it's like laying in bed beside a hippo. All she does is breathe in and out really, really noisily." I was mortified. I went, "What?" And he said, "You just breathe really noisily." And I said, "Why didn't you tell me?" He went, "Well, because I thought it was important for you." Bless his little heart.
Oh, that's
he hadn't
cute.
slept for weeks because I'd started doing breath work in bed. I thought it was really funny. Poor thing.
He was obviously very good at it then, because he was obviously consistent.
Yeah, I was literally, that's what I was doing before I went to sleep.
You should have said to him, "Right, go sleep, you go sleep, and then you won't hear me."
I didn't even realise he could hear me. I thought he was asleep, bless his little heart. But you do stuff that works for you, don't you? And when it works for you, I no longer do breath work in bed, I can assure you.
That's
but when it works for you and you think, it doesn't matter what that thing is. And if that for you is putting on lipstick and makeup before you come downstairs in the morning, that's important. And if that for you is walking, for me, it's walking my dog. My little old lady, she's 14 now, bless her. So we don't walk as far as we used to. And seeing the rabbits and seeing, the live, because I go out very, very early. I go out at first light, really. which is much harder in the winter. I hate it, but in the summer it's lovely.
Mm.
And that is my restorative. That's my thing. Always, my friends all know that. That it always has been. That's when I think and meditate and just be at one with nature. Really sounds a bit woo woo. I'm sorry, but it is.
No,
That
I
is my
mean,
thing. And when I don't get that, I find myself much more anxious during the day and much more not anxious. That's not a good word for me. Actually, I don't particularly get anxious, but sort of not as focused.
yeah, unsettled. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
good
I
word.
mean, well, unbelievably, it's like in May, it'd be 2 years that Luther died, and that used to be my routine. I used to get up in the morning. Um, in Funny enough, though, I still got up and showered, and I'd still put my makeup on, but I would put my dog walking clothes on, and then I would come back and put my
Change.
not my dog walking clothes on. But yeah, I do really miss that. I used to like that. I mean, it's a blessing and a curse, isn't it? Because when it's pouring down with rain and it was hideous, it wasn't so much fun. But mind you, we didn't like going out in the rain
Yeah,
anyway.
I change when I no. Well, Minnie does, but she doesn't like stepping in puddles. But I change. So if it's really grotty weather, I go up to Hatfield Forest because there's a walk through that is really heavily wooded.
No.
And it's proper concrete, so I can do that and back to the car. Which, I have to take a car out to walk where I live anyway. There isn't any.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then when the weather's good and it's dry, I go down to the local cricket club because she doesn't want to walk that far. And we've got a cricket club with a rugby club behind it, so field upon field of really nice walking that's short grass and not muddy and stuff. So yeah, I do. I just really, nature's a wonderful, wonderful thing. And I dream up. I'm walking along and I dream up stories. I like to do stories in my head, and I do poetry in my head.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's really but I find that very calming,
Yeah.
very centering. I never remember any of it, and I always think, oh, I should write that one down, and never do. But it's just because that's what, I don't know what it does for me. Just
Calms your mind,
yeah,
calms your body. Because when we're in that kind of heightened stress state or anxious state or whatever, your mind thinks that you're in trouble, and its only job is to keep you safe, right? So it will give you the anxiety, or it will give you something to make you understand that, oh, you shouldn't be doing that. But as soon as you understand that, and you can calm the mind and calm the body, so when you're in like an anxious or stressed state or something like that, if you do kick in some deep breathing for like 3 or 4 breaths, instantly your mind and body will start connecting, because you're sending a message to your brain to say you're all right, you're calm, you're safe. So that's what I teach my clients, 6-6 breathing, actually, which is like breathing in for your nose and out for your nose, all for the count of 6, but really going from kind of like your diaphragm. And then within, as I say, 2, 3, 4 breaths, you will feel that calmness.
yeah. I do a hold with mine. I chop it around a bit actually, depending on what I'm doing. But generally, I do 7 in, 7 hold, 7 down. 10 down. It normally works out. It normally is more coming down than it is going in. But breath work. My mum did breath work when I was younger. She taught me. Is so powerful. It's really, really powerful.
Really powerful.
Really healing, and it's really powerful. I think it's more talked about now in society than it certainly was 30 or 40 years ago.
Definitely. Yeah,
People
definitely.
are more aware of what's good for them, aren't they?
I think so. There does seem to be, I don't know if it's because you end up hanging out with more people like that, I'm not sure, but I feel like there's people, many more people out there that are open to this, and me included. I did, go back, well, 2020, basically, I didn't really get any of this. I didn't know about mind body mind body connection. And actually it was through Luther as well that in his life he helped me with a lot of things, but in his death he also helped me find my mind body connection, so I could connect to my favorite star, which is him, because a client of mine registered a star for him. And that was the first time that I could start getting my mind body connection together. I couldn't do it before. And it's work in progress all the time, but it opened up a new world that I didn't even know needed opening. And that's what I love about doing all this self-development and uncovering things and finding out things that you didn't even know you needed to know.
Yeah, exactly. Didn't know you need to know it until you do.
No. You know, when I was in the corporate world, I had no inclination to be a business owner. It was never something I aspired to be. But fast forward a few years, here I am. I never aspired to be an author. Fast forward, well, a few years ago, I got a chapter in a book, but I've got my own book coming out this year,
Ooh, exciting.
very soon, hopefully,
What's it
which
called?
is the story of Luther and our life with him, but you know, that transformational journey that he's helped me on. You know, speaking, doing who knew I'd be doing this? Do you know what I mean? It was never something I had to do. I mean, I have vision boards now. I've got a couple of them knocking around in here, but I didn't do anything like that. I just didn't realize it was a thing, you know. But when I look back at my life 5 years ago to what it is now, you know, I don't want to say a completely different person because I am still the same person, but oh my God, I've got so much more about me. I know so much more. And I didn't think that anyone would ever be interested when I was in the corporate world, were ever interested really in anything I had to say. I never thought I'd want to stand and speak on stages, but guess what? That's what I do, you know, and I didn't know I wanted to do it. But look what can happen when you work on yourself and you find out the limiting beliefs and free yourself from the trapped feelings and emotions. You free yourself from the past, you free yourself from the trauma of the past, and then you can start being the person that you deserve to be, the person that's actually within that you need to let out, basically, and find out who you are and start sharing that new person.
Find out who you are. That is it.
That is it. Find out. So, well, you know, it's about what one of my taglines, isn't it? Is get you from stuck to unstoppable, because many of us are just stuck. We don't necessarily know why we're stuck. We don't necessarily know what we're stuck in. We just know that we're stuck. And it's about going to the subconscious mind and finding it and getting rid of it and freeing you from it. And then you wake up the next day and you're like, oh my God, like this is a new beginning. And that's the results my clients get. And I'm so lucky because I've got so many video testimonials that they've kindly done and loads of written ones as well, which nice little segue into my YouTube channel. But no, on a serious note, all my social media, apart from Instagram, which is Julie Millieside, everything is Millieside Therapy and Coaching. And I do have a YouTube channel, and I'd love to get my subscription numbers up because they are a bit lacking. But come on, I've got so much content on there, and all these interviews all go on there as well, and client testimonials, client videos. It's the place where I just house everything. So do pop over and have a look, and please subscribe because that will be amazing. And both of us, right? We've just got so much to offer people. You know, you've got your hair, you've got your makeup brands, which this is what your branding looks like, isn't it?
That's the back of the book, but yes.
That's the back of the book, yeah. The back of the book, this is the front.
Yeah,
but
it is. I mean, the branding is, we had a bit of a rebrand last year because I work with a lovely lady called MJ who does a lot of content for me with the beauty side of it, makeup side of it, but actually physically application makeup. And she, MJ Williams, I'd recommend her to absolutely anyone. She's a very, very clever lady, very sassy, very kind. She's a nice person, and she's been a great help to me. And she said to me, you know, you're playing with the big guys now. You've got one of the best brands that are out there. You need to look like it. So she was the one that took us last year and we did a shoot and rebranded a lot of stuff. And she was absolutely right, because that isn't my forte. It's not what I do, you know. So I love it when someone comes into my life that I can use, you know, what they think because it's right for me. A lot of people tell me stuff that isn't right and I don't take it on board. But when someone does tick that box, it's great. It's great finding those people that are going to be in your world that you know, that should be in your world.
So tell
you have to be open to them, don't you?
You do.
Open.
So tell them the name of your brand again.
I'm English Mineral Makeup.
Yeah.
EMM.
It's
obviously online. We are in some beauty salons. Me with curly hair, blessed with curly hair. Oh my word. I would love to help anyone that needs help, you know, and more importantly, understand what is in your makeup, and also, you know, what you wash your hair with. You know, anything that you wash your hair with goes on your skin and goes on your face. So it's no good cleaning up your makeup routine and then using. We're actually working on a skincare line at the moment. That'll be the next thing I bring out, which is really exciting, great fun, and trying to do it and doing it naturally. Not trying to, we are doing it completely naturally, and I'm trying to find alternatives to what some chemical things do, but do it with botanicals or whatever we use, and it's very easy to think I'm using the best makeup, I'm using the best skincare, but you know what? I'm washing my hair with 57 pence locally branded from a big supermarket shampoo and conditioner. Why? Why?
Well, not only that, lotions as well, isn't it?
Yeah, but you're in the shower. Whatever goes on your head in the shower goes on your skin, on your body, on your face, and your skin's your biggest organ. We all know that. It'll go in. And some plastics and some forever chemicals, that's the scariest thing for me, are the forever chemicals that go into your system and they can't come out again. They do not come out again. You know, and everyone, there's this big buzzword around mineral oils. Well, you know, there's not a problem. I've been told by several people recently that all greenwashing, and there's nothing wrong with using things that are petroleum jelly based, whatever. Hello? They might not hurt your skin, but they will go in to your body. And there they will sit. And, you know, if you're putting a thing on your lip that's full of petroleum jelly, they'll go into your body and doesn't always come back out again. You know, forever chemicals are not funny and they build up. And I think perhaps that's what, like for me, as the older I get, the more aware I am of stuff. That's probably similar for every person on the planet. The older they get, the more aware they are of stuff. It's all a learning curve, but like learn before it's too late.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that.
How much little plastic particles have you got in your bloodstream? Well, you know, learn before it's too late.
Yeah, brilliant. A nice way to end this, actually, because it's about be proud of who we are, isn't it? And I know money plays a big part in all of what people can afford and what they can and can't do, but it doesn't stop you from doing some research, does it? And there are a lot of products out there that are reasonably priced but are still better for you. And you've even made me think, because I do think about my face, but I don't use anything particular shower gels. I don't use anything particularly wonderful. I do.
You don't have to spend a lot of money on them either. They just need
No.
to not. They just need to be as natural based as they are. So you know, you're going to have foaming agents and you're going to have all that stuff. If you don't, it's not so nice to use because doesn't foam as stuff. But you look at what's in the ingredients list. Take it to your Chat GPT or whatever it is. Good one that I like is Yucca. Yucca's really good for finding out what stuff is. But look up individually the individual things that are in your product, and it might look like a lot of long names that are all chemicals. Actually, sometimes it's just the INCI derivative. That's the name they have to call it because it's a derivative of, I don't know, a bay leaf or whatever. Yeah. So look it up and make sure that what you're using isn't from. My big thing is from mineral oil, like from petroleum, and it's called many different things. I can tell you, they're very clever with it, and I don't like colours that are like lake colours or fake colour. I blooming well hate cochineal, and that's used as a red in. You know, there's some very famous brands out there that call themselves cruelty free because they don't use they don't test on animals, but the fact they've got cochineal, which are little beetles that are boiled to get the colour for reds. Lovely one, yeah. There's lusters that come from fish scales. There's, you know, it's such a naughty industry for being very clever about how
it's honest. Yeah.
So you can be cruelty free because your brand doesn't test on animals and doesn't have any products that are tested on animals, but they could still contain animals. You can be vegan because you contain absolutely no animal derivatives at all, but you can still test on animals. Right? By law you can. Now I know that it's not very nice, and most people would like to think that if you're vegan that you don't, but it's still not a definite. You know, it's really
naughty, isn't it? It's misleading, is what it is, isn't it?
they, you know, everyone wants to sell product, and these big companies, you know, when you look at a lot of the smaller companies, they're all owned by massive big companies. And I don't know if I can mention the brand, so I won't say it, but there was a really good brand that was out for quite a long while, in the 80s and 90s, that was brought up by a huge company just so they could dump it.
Mm.
You know, and it's just like, what sort of world do we live in? Because
No,
it's all money. It's all like, you know,
it's all about money.
it's all about
Yeah.
money. It's all about paying the bottom line to the, you know, investors and shareholders and stuff like that. And to our detriment, I fear to say.
Mm.
That's a bit of a heavy statement, but
Yeah,
very often to our detriment.
it is. But anyway, darling, we need to bring this to an end.
Yes, and it's been absolutely superb. Thank
Oh,
you
I
very
love
much.
every minute of it. Well, I've loved
Lovely to
the
learn
3
about
hours
you.
prior to this
I
conversation
know, sorry.
as well. But
Lovely to learn about you. I'll look forward to seeing you. Yeah, you're going to come over.
Before you go, let's just do another quick, just tell everybody again the name of your company.
So I'm the English Mineral Makeup Company.
And where can they find you?
Online, www.englishmineralmakeup.co.uk. On Instagram, we are on Facebook, we are on TikTok, and LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn, Jeanette Burrows Foster. And, you know, if you need help, if you want to know more, if you think that what we've talked about resonates with you, come back and talk to us. We're quite happy, aren't we? Come and talk to us. Yeah. she gives you therapy on the inside, I give it on the outside.
Yeah, well, there's something in there, isn't there? Yeah.
So yeah, in all seriousness, it's a very, very big world, my world, in terms of how many people involved. It's massive. And you know, if I can help a little bit for people to understand what they can do personally to get rid of anything they don't want to have in their makeup and skincare, then do, you know, let us know. But follow us, love us, wear our makeup, tell your mates, shout about it. You do demos on Instagram. I love it. I'm always looking for people to use product and actually give us a demo. We love that. We have really good stuff from our customers. Are great. They're really helpful. So
brilliant. Yeah, and we're going to have our little soiree too.
Be good fun. Yeah.
So, yeah. So thank you so much, darling. It's been amazing.
You're welcome.
Really, really good time. And as I said, I'm Julie from Millieside Therapy and Coaching. I'm on Millieside Therapy and Coaching on everything other than Instagram, which is Julie Millieside. Don't know why. So come and join us. I'll put all the details when we post this all up on YouTube and everything. I'll put all Jeanette's details on there. But thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you on my next interview. Who will that be? Who knows? See you later, everybody. Take care. Bye for now.